Hi everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm Tim and this is Run Tall. If you're new here, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad that you are here and you found us on YouTube. Now, I post running videos every single day. Could be running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles, but I like to post a lot of other videos related to running as well, including training, recovery, and gear reviews. So if you're into that kind of thing, or maybe you're just looking for a daily dose of running, consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. Now in today's video, I'm going to be focused on week number 6 of our 16-week marathon training program that I'm using to help me get to the Chicago and to the New York Marathon, or to help me prepare for it. And the reason I'm focused on week number 6 today is because I just posted a video yesterday summarizing weeks 1 through 5. So if you want to check that out, look at the types of workouts that I've been running and the number of miles that I put in so far and the shoes that I've been wearing. You can check that out in the summary video from weeks 1 to 5. I did have to pivot a little bit. Oh, you know what? Before I get into that, I'm going to give you a little bonus content. So hold on with me. So I just framed up my stuff from Boston. Look at this. That's pretty sharp, isn't it? And I got this frame. It was, I think, less than $30 from a store called Michael's. You know, it's a wood frame. It's got a glass enclosure, but I just thought it was sharp. So it gives me a nice place to put my finisher's medal, a little pick of the day, and my bib. So rather than having that stuff kind of wadded up in my drawer, I thought this was just a nice way to be able to display it. So I ended up buying 2 frames. In fact, that's how they had me buy them, now that I think about it. I bought it from a store called Michael's. I don't work for Michael's. I don't get anything from them if you decide you want to check into it. And I don't know that they're anyplace else but Michigan. Maybe they are. I'm just not that familiar with the store, but it's called Michael's. It's typically like a craft store, so a place you might go to buy fabrics and that kind of stuff. But they have a lot of frames too, and frame selections, and they oftentimes run sales on the frames. And they had these sales, and they were specific for being online, where you could buy, it was like buy one get one 50% off or something like that. It was a pretty good deal, I thought. So I ended up getting 2 frames. And I know the total cost was less than $60 for both frames. So I went ahead and bought 2. So I'll have one that I can use for Chicago. And because I like it so much, I might get, another pair, because they do oftentimes go on sale. I'm sure that sale isn't going on right now. At least probably not. But if you wait a week, it'll come around again, because they have those sales quite often. So just be patient. If you're interested in something like that, check it out. It's called Michael's. Now, their physical store here, for me anyway, is located in the Lansing area. So anyway, I just thought that was cool, and I thought I would share it with you guys. Oh, and I did, if you missed it in yesterday's video, I got my wave assignment for Chicago. Woohoo! So, all right. So I'm going to be in wave 1, corral D. So I know that that's in the back of wave 1, but hey, I'll take it. I'm really excited to be there. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so week number 6. I had to pivot a little bit. And I alluded to that yesterday in the video. And I'm not injured. Okay, so if you're following me on Strava and you're wondering, scratching your head, what's going on with Tim, right? I'm not injured, but I have been feeling a little bit of pain. And so now was a really good time for me to address that before we get too far into the training block and it becomes an issue where I am injured and can no longer run. So I don't want that to happen. And oftentimes for me, when I'm running these, I always seem to be training for something. I'm always in a training block. Last year I ran 3 separate 16-week training blocks, just one right after another. So for almost the entire year, I was training for a marathon at some point. So I think when I do that, I might have been overreaching just a little bit, especially for a guy that's, beard is a little more gray than I would like it to be. I don't really have a lot of time to address some of my weaknesses, and I have a lot of weaknesses that I need to address, especially when it comes to like my glutes and, my abductors and my hip flexors, those types of things that really impact your running. And I've been able to address some of them successfully, like my shin splints. I pretty much have eliminated getting shin splints, so that's been a really good thing. But I still have a lot of work to do. And when I'm always training for something, I feel like I'm trying to build the plane and fly it at the same time. And so that's kind of what's going on right now. So I've had some abductor pain and some hip flexor pain. So from my hip all the way down through to my groin, kind of headed towards my knee area. So that whole swath through there was feeling a little bit painful, and it has been for a little bit. I just assumed it was muscle strain or fatigue, even something that you could just continue to work through and to run and not have any issues. And while I can still run, I could go out and run right now if I wanted to. Chances are I would have a little bit of pain from that. And, I want to eliminate that. I want to nip that in the bud. And so that's what I'm doing. So this week, week number 6, was a bit of a lesser week in terms of the training as it has stood so far. So weeks 1 through 5, it built up pretty fast. I think if I recall from yesterday's summaries, I ran something like 264 miles. Some of the weeks were not it would be not uncommon to be up around 55 to 60 miles for that week. And for me, that's a lot. Typically, I'm running around 40 miles a week when I'm preparing to run a marathon. So, 55, 60 miles is a pretty good increase. And so when I looked ahead at this week, I see that they had me scheduled to run 5 different times. There were no 2-a-days scheduled. It was just, 5 different days I was going to run. And I thought, this might be a really good time to address that hip flexor pain and that abductor pain and not run this week. Doesn't mean I wasn't training, because I'm still training. It's just I substituted riding my mountain bike for all of the different workouts that Garmin had scheduled for me, or that were on the training schedule anyway. And I will likely do that again next week, because it's feeling much better, but it's still there, right? I still feel it a little bit. So, I'm spending more time. So when you see yoga on Strava, so if you're not following me on Strava, let's connect there, because you guys can get real time information as to what's happening, and we just give each other kudos, that kind of thing. But, anyway, so I'm spending time when you see yoga. Some of that time I'm using to do some dynamic stretches, but also strengthening of those 2 different areas. So I'm adding some things into the mix so that I can address that. So that I can run pain-free. Hopefully, come race day, I can show up and just be good to go. And if you're wondering, if you ever thought, am I losing too much of my physical fitness by riding my bike or swimming or trying to do some other activity as opposed to running? Maybe a little, okay, but not that much. I mean, seriously. So, and I'm speaking from experience. So the very first marathon I ran, if you guys are new to the channel, you might not know this about me, but I've only started running marathons just a little over a year ago. And the first one I attempted to train for, after the first 8 weeks, I'd gotten shin splints and I couldn't run. I was truly injured. That's the definition right there, is, being injured as I couldn't run. So for the last 8 weeks, right up until marathon day, I hadn't been running. But what I did do was I stuck with it. I stuck with the program, and I continued to ride my mountain bike. And I tried to honor the workouts the best that I could on my bike, or it was a stationary bike in my home. So if it called for speed work, I might call up a HIIT training session on YouTube and follow along with that and do my speed work here or out on the road on my mountain bike, like I say. And when I got there, I was pretty well good to go. I was glad that I took those 8 weeks. I didn't have the shin splints anymore on race day. It was questionable because I hadn't run. I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I ended up, very first marathon, qualifying to run the Boston Marathon. So I don't remember the exact time right offhand, but it was less than 3 hours and 30 minutes. I think it was 3 hours and 25 minutes, 28 minutes. I don't know, something like that. Maybe I'll look it up and put it up on the screen for you. But the point is, I was still able to maintain and build some physical fitness and be ready come race day, even though I hadn't really been running in that much. up until that point. So I'm not overly concerned if I spend a couple weeks on my bike, as long as I can build that foundation and make it stronger. And then just going forward, I know that that's something that I really need to pay more attention to. And frankly, I'm calling myself out on this. I probably really kind of neglected this piece of my physical fitness. And I do a lot of mobility stuff. I do some strengthening, especially with that yoga, that kind of thing. But and I do some hip things, but obviously it wasn't enough, and I need to do more abductor or more things to strengthen that groin area. So I'm adding those things in as it feels better. I'm working up to it. Right now I'm doing a lot of isometric things to build some strength, if you're wondering. And then from there I'll move into doing some squats, and from there I'll move into doing some skater jumps, some more active plyometric types of exercises to make sure that I'm good to go. So now whether or not I can lace up my shoes a little earlier, that'd be great. But if not, I'll take the time to get this part worked out. And in the meantime, I'm still training for the Chicago Marathon. So I'll just be out on my mountain bike, or this time of year, it's hot out. So I might head to the lake and do some swimming, things like that. So, all right. So that is where I'm at in terms of week number 6. So you can expect that week number 7 is probably going to be pretty much the same. And, what I might do is to take you guys out on one of my bike rides, and we can talk about, what's going on that way too. But it won't be long, and I'll be back to my more traditional daily types of videos where I take you with me out on the run, because I really enjoy doing those. Probably the most out of all the videos I do is when I lace up my shoes and I take you guys with me when I'm going out to get my run in. And so I missed that, but we'll be back there soon enough. A week or two is, in the scheme of things, that's going to go by in a blink of an eye. I will see you guys tomorrow in the next one. So as always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching. And again, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.